Let's step forward and talk about the conceptual frameworks and the modeling approaches that underlie most transportation systems, right? So the first thing we should be talking about is the multimodality. That when you talk of mobility, you're not just talking road transport or traffic. How do these systems come together?
They have to integrate together, and they come together. So if you look at the multimodality, right, depending on the purpose of travel, you choose a particular mode of transport. That's what we do, right? So we do have rails, we have road network. Within road network, we have different types of modes. We can have private cars, we can have public transport. There is active transport. So they all work together depending on the purpose of travel. That has a big role to play in how they come together, right? So let's say public transport, right? It's one of the accessible mode of transport for the public, right? So
particularly in India, there's very large public transport system.
Yes, and it is accessible to all. Correct. That's why we say it's one of the most important mode of transport, right? So, but the problem with public transport would be it might not be accessible to all in terms of the availability of public transport, right? So the road network, the availability of road, how far do you have to walk to the best station to reach a public transport? So that actually reduces the usage of public transport. So how we can incentivize people to use public transport? Because if you have an option, those who have an option to use a car and a public transport, they might go for car because it's more comfortable when compared to public transport, right? So, and also car is door-to-door transport as well. So if we can improve the door-to-door transport by adding some last mile, first mile component into public transport, so that's where I say multimodality comes together to improve the transport system.
Have there been any examples? That's a very interesting concept. Have there been any examples where public transport has helped the first mile and the last mile? Because when I think public transport, I'm thinking bus stop.
So actually adding a last mile and first mile will incentivize public transport. So when you add an active transport component to the first mile or the last mile, that means you are in a way giving an door-to-door transport. Right. Sure. So before you have to walk for 15 minutes to reach a bus station to catch a bus or a train station to catch a train, but you add an active transport component to it, that travel duration will be less, and then people will choose public transport over car. That's what we want, right? Because all these traffic congestion on the road is because we have more number of people using cars instead of public transport. So how we can reduce the usage of car, how we can improve the usage of public transport, that's when all these last mile, first mile intermodality discussions came into picture.